Oh, this is just gonna have to work. Remind me, future self, to talk right about flow and struggle and discipline. Yes, those things. Okay, so where we left off, I don't remember, but the point of the video was to talk about to talk to my children about the most important things I've learned and through the stories that I've lived. Because I've realized overall that life is super short, and we can either choose to just let it fly by and not really make any meaning of it, or we can pass down lessons that make our future generation stronger, wiser, and more capable to reach their full potential. Um, so, and one of the main things is I see myself and my children so much, and a lot of the things that have taken me so long to learn about and do research about and practice and go think outside the box, because things on our individual realities are so different, and you can often feel isolated from the world because you may think different or act different than other people. And so I want my kids to have the confidence to be their true authentic selves, and by teaching them the lessons I've learned. So I see these cycles that are happening over and over, and it's funny. It's like I see them in my mom. Like now, my granny lives here now, and so and my aunts, and so you can see these things like just so clearly through all of our through the women in our family. ADHD runs strong. Pretty much everybody except for my Aunt Nancy. She's actually she can focus well, and that's why she's like the executor on everybody's everything, because she knows how to get stuff done like that when everyone else is like, oh. But I feel like one of my purposes in life is to take that energy and transmute it into something more valuable. That using that, that part is fun. It's very right brain, and it's very creative, and it's flowy, and it's emotional, and it's everything that I'm all about. And that's where most of my, I feel like most of my action in my brain is happening, much on my right side. I'm left-handed. I think that's where my nervous tics came from. I think that's where depression and anxiety comes from. But I think that these are a mix. All of our DNA, I think, is just a mix of our previous genetics. So we're carrying trauma from bloodlines before us. We're carrying the collective trauma of war and famine and things that have happened, and it's just all this energy is all put into all of us. And then it's kind of shaped by the environment that we live in. And then our whole life is just kind of figuring out how to find what was our inherent traits, the things that make us feel good and happy, and the ideas that come natural to us versus what has been laid on top of us over time. So we've got all these layers to crack through. To see that we are love, we are light, we are stardust, we are all made of the same stuff, and we all have the potential to vibrate on the highest frequency. But it's just learning how to tune into that and how to break through all of the trauma and the anxieties and the fears, because all that's not real. It's not real. What's real is love. We just need to learn to tap it. I need to finish my makeup while I'm talking. So let's go. I just want to finish this real quick. So about things being so cyclical. When I was talking on this last video, it was my first video to make talking like this since like college, because I used to do this a lot for my like therapy. It is great therapy. Everyone should be doing this. Why not? Why not? Share, just why not? So I talked about how I had anxiety as a kid about test taking, and I was in the nurse's office a lot. I would throw up sometimes. I would, just my stomach would be in knots. And so I was familiar with the nurse. And now I was talking about how my daughter is going, I don't know if I said this, but my daughter is going through the same thing. and we've been talking about it lately, and I've been trying to teach her breathing techniques and, ways to take that energy and like focus it. But like I told the nurse, I was like, oh, so anyway, so the nurse called. That's why I left the last video, was because my husband called and said the nurse had left a message with him about an hour ago. He had just seen it, that Stella had been to the nurse 3 times in the morning, complaining of a stomach ache, wouldn't eat, wouldn't drink anything, but she wasn't throwing up, no fever, no headache, so they didn't need to send her home. But she, so by the time I got the message, I just immediately went to the school and called the nurse on my way up there, and she's like, oh, she just went back to class. She just rested here for about an hour and just went and said her stomach didn't hurt anymore and went back. And I was like, I was like, do you happen to know if they do test taking on Fridays? In my head, already knowing that they do, that we just had a parent-teacher conference, and she told us how they do their test taking and evaluations on Fridays. And I just knew, I had just been talking about it to my camera for, talking about how anxiety, can happen in such a young age, and how we need to learn to rise above that. And our children can only do that if we do that. And it's just breaking the chains, of what's been before us, and learning new ways, because science has progressed in the past 10 years, in the past 20 years. I mean, so much. We know so much more about things that I used to feel so shameful about, the forgetting things. Like I would lose things I still do. I lose things all the time. And I was just like, oh, why is everyone else can just keep their lives together, and like mine is always falling apart. Like I can never find anything. And it's like I make all these systems and then they fall apart. And like I try, I've been working 10 years on making like my perfect to-do list planner that balances all of my ideas and things that I want to get done and things I think are valuable with missions. I'm so meticulous on this stuff because I'm so anxious about not getting the full potential out of life, because I just see how quick it is. I see how valuable it is. And I want to help my children, be able to break through those layers faster than I did. And so trying to not indoctrinate them, but showing them, but not making them afraid or think that what their family and friends are doing is wrong, because it's not wrong. Like religion can be a beautiful thing when it's based in real truth. And so I'm trying to teach her the things that didn't feel right to me growing up, and the things that I tried instead. But we're not there yet, someday. But right now we're just in the stage of the things that I've learned really in the past 10 years, because this journey has been phenomenal in so many ways. It's been the hardest, especially in the past 2-3 years have been, people say having an autistic child will change you. That changed so much, but there's just, on top of that alone, with my daughter being neurotypical, but also having those same anxieties and perfectionism and kind of OCD things that I had too. And I just see in my kids both of the things I've worked so hard, with just, it's like the fidgety, and like I'm the same way. It's like even when my kids are talking to me, I'm just like dancing, I'm like moving, like I'm always with I gotta be going. And so I understand them, I feel like on a much deeper level, because I know that these things I was supposed to go through all of these things and to help. Okay, let's wrap this up with the quick story at the end, with the bringing all together. So I told the nurse, that I had the same thing, and so now we're on the same page. And then I was thinking of all the times that Stella and I and my mom have had these like repeating exact patterns. So this is one of my worst memories growing up, was being chased across the pool by a rat in our backyard, and my mom was on the other side screaming like, swim, 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 and like it was going so fast and I was swimming so fast, and Oh my gosh, even just talking about it, like my heart is racing. It was so scary. And also funny that then like put thinking about that later on is that I am year of the rat. And I just never I always wondered like I'm afraid of, and then I was kind of just like trying to put together meaning with this. Like maybe I'm afraid of my power. Like it looks scary to other people. Like a rat's, like rats are scary little things. And so, but they're actually not. Like they're just animals that are, want food and water just like all other animals. They just look scary and because they're different. And maybe I was always scared of my own power in that way. So, anyways, I've thought about that later in life because that's like when people talk about like your worst memory, like that's always that's what comes up. So, we're in my parents' pool. All these years later, my daughter's around the same age that I was when this all happened. Sorry. Okay, my daughter's around the same age that I was around that when this happened, and same exact thing. A rat chases her across the pool. I'm on the other side screaming, "Swim, Stella, swim!" And I'm reliving it exactly as if it was just on the other side now. Just like I'm experiencing both sides of it. And just like the panic of what my mom was going through, like I was, and it made me even feeling more connected to my mom in a way to see all the perspectives in one situation. A couple weeks ago, I've been, trying to put together like all of my passions and like what I want to do to bring them all together into one thing. And I'm very into like eco-conscious death options, end-of-life options, using human composting and aquamation. That's like my big thing. If you haven't talked to me in the past year, you don't know, like I've been pretty obsessed with these ideas and getting them passed in Texas and everywhere, because it's one of the biggest things I think we can do as the next generation. Anyways, so I feel like the first step to get this like mind shift of changing our idea of it being dirt and dirty dirt into soil, into its soul. It's the soul of our earth. Soil is what provides the life of our planet, and we're just like cutting down everything. And as our people die, we fill up plots of land with cement and toxins and involvement. And with cremation, we have all the release into the atmosphere. So it's just like those are not options that are going to keep our planet thriving long term. So to me, that seems like the biggest thing I can do to help the long-term entropy of the planet. And by doing that, it's like you're really in the planet. And my long-term mission is to reduce the entropy in myself and the planet. And you can do that by doing it within yourself. So that's, getting really in touch with nature. And so to get the mind shift to change that, that paradigm, that we are connected to soil in so many ways, and how important it is to grow things, and how we can use our last act of service can be to provide more life, and to give off more energy to the world through our very sacred bodies that that got us through this whole life. It's like it can provide more life. So I think that starts in the schools, is like connecting children with nature. They're the ones that are going to be taking over. And it's like we're in a very, very critical time right now of shaping our children's minds into, are they going to go on the metaverse and just go to concerts and not do anything in this reality, because we think like, like we're moving from 2D to 3D by going to the metaverse, so like this is bigger and better. But I really think what our long-term purpose is in humanity, to keep thriving, to keep the planet thriving, is to not go actually, it's like to realize that we can be in that 3D. We are in that 3D, that we think that the metaverse is 3D, but it's like we're actually taking a step away. We're like living this alternate life that like being able to feel and eat and interact with nature and interact with our kids and to play and to dance, like we can only do that for so short. It's like, we don't everyone can do their own thing. Well, and that's, side note, remind me to do a video about the poem that came through about going against the grain. Back to the cycles. So I'm thinking making a garden in at my daughter's school, that will soon be my son's school, and like, finding a program. I've been really into Francoise Bourzat and trying to research the stuff that she talks about, and trying to find a program or curriculum, or finding someone that can help make that, connecting life and math and science and philosophy, and the philosophy being the point of that's not been in our schools for so long, is to unite everyone, to see that we have so many things that divide us. It's like teams and politics and right brain, left brain, and the creative kids and you're like, it's always splitting. It's like the philosophy is not taught in our schools, and that is the one aspect that's going to overcome the bullying, that's going to overcome, to show people that higher perspective of that there's more than division, that we have more in common, but we just don't seek to be curious about things that are different than us. And we just need more opportunities to do that. So the garden, so I've been thinking about that. So I call my mom and I'm telling, her my idea about this. And she's like, and because it's one of my favorite memories of elementary school was, we did a garden for like 1 year. And I always wondered, like, what happened to that garden that we started? Like, it was so cool to be outside, and like we planted it, and like we went a few times and watered it, and then I don't remember going anymore. So I didn't realize that my mom, when she was the PTA president, which she had not signed up to be, she signed up to be the VP because she was asked by somebody else, like, oh, you won't have to do anything. The VP doesn't do anything. But then the president had to go to rehab, and so she ended up having to do a lot of things. And so she came up with this idea of the garden, and she got with Callaway's, which I've been obsessed with Callaway's. Like in the past year, I've gotten to know like people on a first name basis there. Like it's just the most peaceful place in Carrollton, I feel like. And so she's like, yeah, I worked with Callaway's, and they donated. I got them to donate the stuff, and we made it all, and I made a schedule for everyone. They said they would do it, and then no one kept up with it. And I was like, oh, well, what do you want to help me do a new one? She's like, no, because no one's going to keep up with it. And I was like, well, instead of just like saying no, like it was a great idea. Let's figure out like what went wrong, like where the miscommunication was, and how, we can create something that's, bigger and better, like build off of what you've already done. You've already done this. Like, and now I'm thinking about it, it's like what she had done was already in my blood. It's like that desire was already in me. And now I'm just taking a step further, which is what our children are doing, and taking what we've done a step further. So we really have to make sure that our lives are like very intentional, so that our kids have somewhere to focus in the sky of where they want to go. Like I feel like for so long, so many people are just like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm connected to. I don't know what I believe. I don't know what I'm passionate about. I don't know what I want to do. And we get so stuck in those patterns instead of like being really intentional about answering those questions, like taking the time to walk around nature and ask until you get an answer. What do I want? Ask until you get an answer. Just keep thinking. different ideas will come. And as ideas come, think them through. Don't just be like, oh yeah, that sounds awesome, I'm gonna do that. And then just, if you never knew why you were doing it, like, I love someone said, it's like a old guru of some type who says, like, someone told me they wanted to be famous, and I asked them what do they want to be famous for, and then they didn't know. And it's like, most people walk around like that. And that quote meant so much to me. I feel like yeah, it's just like, always question, what do I want that for? Because I feel like another purpose of our life is to want less, want more internally, want less externally, to live more simply and more in harmony with nature and its natural rhythms. So the garden, okay, and then also just randomly, my daughter also went to her first year at kindergarten, was the same place that I went to kindergarten at, exactly 30 years apart. I thought that was crazy. Crazy situationally. I feel like I always need to clarify. So my daughter had a cheer camp this September. And we went with our best friend, her best friend Alice, and my best friend Jessica, which I could do an hour on all of our synchronicities and coincidences over 6 years. It's mind-blowing. But so we went with them, and I'm standing outside with Jessica by the back of the school, which is not the front entrance. It's on a side entrance by the gym. And we're looking at this hallway, and I was like, it's so crazy. This hallway, like, I will always remember, like, we were ushered on September 11th. We were in the trainer's room when we watched the planes hit on the TV, and we were watching the news in there. And then, like, everyone got quickly ushered into that hallway. And I just remember I was like in this full panic mode. My cousin, I had a baby cousin that was 4 months old that had just died, the day before, September 10th. And so we were getting ready to fly that afternoon. I was going to be picked up from school early. It was before cell phone. So I'm like, I need to get a hold of my parents. Like, it was chaos. Exactly what everyone doesn't like, but as we're talking about so much, my friend goes, it's September 11th right now. And I had not even put that together, that I was at the exact same place, like one of my most memorable high school fear moments. My daughter was at the same place too. It was exactly 20 years different. 20 years or 30 years? I don't know the math, but it was exactly one of those apart. And I'm just like, this is so crazy. I just see, like, my mom's sexual trauma I've had in my past, and I see the trauma of ADHD playing out, and I just see so many things that I want for my future, for Stella and Jetson to know, that they can take anything. I am not the perfect person. You're gonna find out stuff that, like, everyone has a past. Everyone makes decisions that aren't the greatest, but it doesn't mean that they were necessarily bad. They were learning experiences, and that's why we're here. We're here to learn. And people can either learn as fast or as slow as they want to. That's completely up to them. That's completely their choice. I used to be so evangelistic, like, I know the way, follow me, I'm happy. Then you get knocked down a few times and you realize, oh, that's why people didn't get it. Because I've never gone to the shadow side and seen what's there. And then I did, and I found that it was just fear, and it was just a lot of separation from God and our true selves, and the divine that lives within our body, within our rocket system. We are all individual rockets. We all have our rainbow chakra. You know, we're all meant to evolve into a higher point of view. I really believe reality is just like nesting dolls, and if you want to see the next nesting doll, you really gotta learn it within the first one. So I don't know if that last part made sense to you. I probably should have thrown that in and given it some more context, but I gotta go. This is over an hour talking, and I gotta get stuff done. Love you. Bye.